Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess. Today we are at the next topic and we are going to look at some ideas related to opening preparation. So it's basically a guide how to start our opening preparation, and we are going to discuss about gambits. Introduction to gambits it is, and we will see what kind of gambits are good for which kind of players. Today is just an introduction. So let's get started with our normal e4 e5 opening. E4 e5 is one of the most basic openings, and most of the gambits happen in e4 e5. So there are huge variety of gambits which white can choose against e5. Today we are going to look at what are the options. Most dangerous and most sound gambit is the move f4 or the king's gambit. This is recommended for the players, those who want to have very sharp play and those who can spare time for accurate opening preparation, because after ef and f3 white may have to give up this pawn permanently because black has the move g5 and lines become very sharp. So knowing exact theory is very important, and one has to devote time for all the black defenses. There are around 8-9 black defenses in all. So all of them we have to prepare against. So the next approach could be after nf3 nc6. Here again white has various gambits. He can go with the move d4, and after ed, instead of recovering, he can play the move bishop c4. Going forward, white can play the move bishop c4, and here after bishop c5 there are again three main gambits actually. White can go for the move b4, diverting this bishop, and play c3 d4. In all gambits we see there are two main concepts. One, we give up the pawn for better center control, or we give up the pawn for more development. Here with the move b4, bishop takes d4, c3, ba5, d4, white is improving his presence in the center. He has driven the bishop away, and after ed4 castle he is also ahead in development. So very, we can say, dangerous gambit, but white is also sacrificing a lot, and again here also he has to know lot of theory. Another gambit idea arises after the move nf castle, nf6, d4. This is a very interesting gambit. We will be looking at it in the next lecture perhaps. Here ed4, e5 is so-called the Max Lange Attack. Another very sharp line. Black has to play precisely to have a decent game. And finally, after the move bishop c5, there is the move c3, which intends to go d4, and here also white wants to give up a pawn either on d4 or on e4. This is so-called the Grecko's attack, one of the most famous and the oldest one. We are going to start our preparation with this. We will learn a bit about the Grecko's attack, how much sound is the opening, and at what level we can play. At the very onset, I must tell you, all these gambits are totally playable. There are some gambits which are unsound. If they are totally bad, I will tell you about them. But this gambit is absolutely playable till a very high level. Even IMGMs can play these openings. So only the depth required for that would be somewhat more. So after black's nf6, white goes d4, e takes d4, c takes d4, and this bishop is under fire. So the bishop has to move without wasting the time. So he goes bb4 check, knight c3, typical way to play in a gambit style, and now comes knight takes e4. This is the most challenging line. If black doesn't take the pawn, then white uses d5 e5 and pushes these both knights behind. White goes castle. Truly in a gambit style. Today, since it's an introductory lesson, we are only going to focus on the move knight c3, bc, bishop c3. The main line is bishop takes c3, which we will take in the next lesson. So after knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes c3, a curious position has arisen. White has given up two pawns, and two pawns for what, we may ask. See, there is some center control. White king has castled, rook is ready to come out, black king is still in the center and we can see that the bishop on c3 is somewhat loose. Is this enough for 2 pawns? That should be the first question. If we see the following continuation and play, we will soon realize that not only white is having compensation, but in most cases he is way much better. Let's say if he tries to make instant tactics with the move bishop f7, kf7, qb3 check, winning this bishop, then black can have d5 and he can safeguard his king after rook f8, kg8. So instant bf7 is no good. Here white has given up the gambit to keep the black king in the center and white uses the very strong move bishop a3. This forces the king to remain in the middle, castling is stopped, and we will take 2 cases here. One is the move bishop a1 which loses by force, and other suggested by many, the move d6. The move d6 now renews the idea of castle, bishop on a3 is blocked. But here white has the most simple, rook c1 attacking the bishop, bishop has to go back to a5, and here after queen a4 we realize that there is no defense now. After castle there is d5 when the a5 bishop hangs if the knight moves, and after bishop b6 also there is d5 when we realize that the knight on c6 would be lost. So we can say already black is in deep trouble now. That is why the move bishop c3 is far better than knight takes c3. Black goes bishop a1 and now comes re1 check. We can see that it's game over, knight e7 forced, and now rook takes e7. The first point is if king f8, then white quickly mates in couple of moves. Rook f7 check, kg8 allows rook f8 checkmate, it's a double check, and ke8 allows queen e2 or queen e1 when queen e7 mates. Thus queen takes e7 forced, bishop takes e7, king takes e7. Situation has settled. We can see that there are 2 rooks for queen and some pawns, but look at the black king. It is really badly placed and white uses queen e1 check, not leaving the bishop here. He keeps eye on the bishop and forces the king to go to a bad square. After kd6 there is queen e5, kc6, queen c5 mate. Similarly after kf6 there is queen e5, kg6, qg5 mate. King d8 loses instantly to knight g5 when knight f7 mate is threatened. So rook f8, knight f7, rook f7, bf7 is just lost. After c6 the a1 bishop is lost. So the only move is king f8, to which white can just take queen a1. Play the pawn to d5, get the queen into the attack, or instantly try ne5 and ng5 to attack f7, and white is winning. So thus amongst all the gambits, I have started with the Grecko's attack because it's one of the easiest to understand and learn. I hope you will find the gambit interesting. Thanks for your time.